Good evening, everyone, and happy holidays, OWU alumni, parents, and friends. My name is Liz Long Downey, and I graduated in the class of 2006 and am the current president of the OWU Alumni Association Board of Directors. On behalf of the Ohio Wesleyan Alumni Board of Directors, I want to thank you all for joining us virtually this evening and wish you all a happy, healthy, and safe holiday season. This time of the year is always one of my favorites as an OWU alumna. My husband, Jason Downey, class of 2002, and I always enjoy the OWU holiday parties and even traveling to various holiday parties around the country. We have always enjoyed the opportunity to see old friends and connect with OWU alumni and parents. While I wish we all could be together in person, I am grateful for the opportunity to see you all virtually tonight. And I want to thank the OWU staff for continuing to provide creative and fun ways for OWU alumni, parents, and friends of OWU to stay connected with the university and gather in person soon. I know 2020 has provided many challenges for the university and to everyone personally. It has also allowed me to reflect on what is most meaningful as well, and I continue to be reminded that the connections and experiences I have had through OWU continue to be some of the most important in my life. I know how resilient the OWU community is, and while this year has been challenging, there have also been moments to celebrate. Please join me in watching some of these moments.
Hi, and welcome to OWU! My name's Charlie, and I'll be your tour guide. Let's go.
2020 taught me how to create a better OWU.
Don't ask me when I'm going to retire because I'm not going to answer that one.
Let's come together in a spirit of public engagement, civic service, and hopefully a rousing debate about politics. Welcome to the 2020 Mock Convention.
'20 has shown me that we are Bishop strong.
'20 taught me that life's too short to not follow your dreams.
Thank you for everything you do every day.
Be Bishop strong.
This is a time for more than reflection. This is a time for concrete action that leads to meaningful and systemic change.
'20 taught me how to be resilient. '20 taught me that I'm allowed to take breaks.
Today we have the Bishop Goodie Bus. We're going to drive around and give away some goodies to thank you for all your good work. Let's go.
2020 has taught me how important human connection is.
proud to be here today. I'm joined by my esteemed colleague, Bob. We're going to take the opportunity today to take you through our Branch Rickey renovation. So without further ado, I know there's one everybody's been waiting for. We'll get into the main arena. So we'll come out. Obviously, this is completely redone.
The Wilcomata Center for my 4 years just served as a phenomenal home base.
I'm very excited. Seeing it literally be built from the ground up is just that constant little reminder of like OWU is progressing just like we are.
"2020 taught me how to create a better OWU.
Trust that the present moment, however difficult, however different from what you'd imagined, has something to teach you. Keep moving."
I want to thank the OWU staff for putting that video together with us again. I find myself a little emotional after seeing it. And I, again, want to thank the OWU faculty and staff for continuing to provide moments like we saw in the video. And now it is a great pleasure to introduce the person whose leadership OWU is so fortunate to have in these challenging times, OWU President Rock Jones.
Thank you, Liz, and good evening, everyone. It's wonderful to be able to share this time together. Normally, over the past 2 weeks, Melissa and I would have been able to see so many of you in cities across the country as we would come together in the Bishop spirit to celebrate the holidays. We're not able to do that this year, but we're honored to be able to be together this evening as we come into the 2020 holiday season, albeit a very different season. We come together on the first day of Hanukkah, as we are preparing for Christmas and the other holidays of this season. And we're thrilled to be able to be with you and to share this time. I want to provide an update on some of the things that have happened at Ohio Wesleyan over the past 12 months. And this will, in some ways, reflect things you have just seen in the very moving video that gave us a depiction of what life has been like in this most unusual of years. And as we begin the presentation, I want to send my greetings and best wishes to all of you. I know it's been a challenging year in so many ways, and yet it's been a year where in the midst of the challenges, we have seen resilience, we have seen strength, we have seen compassion, we have seen humanity, we have seen hope, and we have seen all of that at Ohio Wesleyan too. I want to begin, as the video ended, by paying tribute to the late Dr. Sean Kay, professor of international studies at Ohio Wesleyan, who died unexpectedly about a month ago. Sean taught at Ohio Wesleyan for 2 decades. He was a renowned teacher and also a well-known scholar. He published books on NATO, on the Cold War, on Ireland, on the impact of rock and roll music on international relations. And most recently, he had become interested in environmental issues and was teaching courses in environmental policy and no doubt had a book in the works there. His former students have gone on into public service, into academic life. He has former students making significant contributions as scholars, as well as in public service in Washington, D.C. and in other places. And with his former students, with the faculty and staff, with all who knew and admired him, we send our continuing condolences to his wife, Anna Marie, and to their 3 daughters, including Shabone, who is currently a student at Ohio Wesleyan. Well, 2020 was not the year that we expected, was it? We began with mock convention in the winter, and we had a terrific mock convention, the most energetic of the 3 mock conventions I have experienced. Students were energized. They debated the policies. They nominated a president and a vice president. And within about 3 weeks after mock convention, COVID had arrived and the campus was empty. And yet When it became necessary for us to empty the campus and to move learning from the classroom to virtual platforms, the faculty succeeded in moving literally every class in the spring curriculum online, and students were able to continue their work uninterrupted. Over the course of the summer, we made plans for students to be able to return to campus this fall, understanding that we are a residential liberal arts institution and that we should do everything possible to be able to safely have our students on campus. And so things looked different when students arrived in August. There were new classrooms, outdoor classrooms, 6 tents set up on campus where students and faculty could gather in outdoor classroom settings. And within the buildings, students were wearing their masks, keeping their distance. In the bottom right, Professor Zach Long, a Shakespeare scholar in the Department of English, teaching a course in the tent in front of Sturgis Hall, where his classes met twice a week during the fall semester. So we had new places to learn, we had new ways to learn, we had new ways to compete. In fact, our fall sports did not have competition, but they were able to practice in different ways, keeping their distance, wearing their masks, but still having some of the athletic experience. We're hopeful that winter sports will have a competition. They will not have a full season of competition, and the NCAC will not host winter sport championships, but we're hopeful to have a 4 or 5 week season of winter sport competition beginning in early February, and then hopefully to be able to have a full season of spring sport competition. That's our top priority because the spring athletes lost their season last year. There were new ways to perform. These are images from Orchesis, the annual dance presentation from the theater and dance program. It was an outdoor performance this year that included actually 2 segments, an hour in the late afternoon where the performers moved from spot to spot on campus. In fact, 6 dance performances in 6 different locations over the course of about an hour. And then in the evening, there was a screen set up with a filmed dance that was available. We happened to have our 4-year-old grandson with us for a few weeks in the middle of the fall, and the outdoor performance was intended to be interactive as the spectators moved with the dancers. And so I took Wyatt with us, and he found his way up into the middle of the dance troupe at one point, and I was told later that was exactly what they had hoped would happen, that it would become an interactive dance performance. So guess what? We found new ways to perform as a part of life on campus in the COVID. Our students have found new ways to express themselves. Chalk art on the sidewalk, that's popular in many places in COVID. You see the various masks that students are wearing that reflect the various ways in which they want to express themselves. We were not, of course, able to have student activities in the way that we would normally do. We could not gather in large groups. Most meetings were held virtually, and yet students found ways to come together and to engage one another in this fall of the pandemic. We found new ways to connect, and you see just some of the images on the campus as students are spread a bit further apart, wearing their masks. One of the things that has been striking to all of us through the fall semester is the number of times people from the community of Delaware will stop us and say, every time I drive by the campus, every student is wearing a mask. And while that was not true with the citizens of Delaware in downtown Delaware much of the fall, our students were very conscientious in abiding by the protocols that we put in place to make our way through this fall semester. So the goal was to keep our students safe and to complete the semester on campus without interruption. And we were successfully able to do that. On-campus instruction completed on the Tuesday before Thanksgiving. Students returned home. They had a final week of classes online last week, and exams are in process now, our final projects, and the semester ends tomorrow. And so I guess what we really want to say is we made it. And I am so proud of our students for their resilience. I'm so proud and grateful for the faculty for all of the work that they did, provide a meaningful educational opportunity for students in the context of a pandemic. Our students were able to benefit from an instruction where they have close and deep interaction with their faculty, whether they were in person, as 85% of our students were, or whether they were remote, as 15% of our students were, or whether they were for a week or two quarantined because they had been exposed to someone with the virus, as was the case for a number of our students through the fall semester. So we made it, and now we look ahead. And as we look ahead, our admission office has been using the theme and talking with prospective students, forward to better. That is, we've been through a difficult time with the pandemic, but the pandemic will end. We've completed our program reviews in the past year, and we are now looking to the future and what the future looks like with a renewed and strengthened Ohio Wesleyan. And I want to talk about some of the things that we believe point us forward to better. First, the outcome of the program review has, and in particular of the academic program review, has received significant national media attention because of the way in which our program review was undertaken, led by the faculty, with recommendations made by the faculty, not just to consolidate or eliminate programs, but to design the future of the Ohio Wesleyan curriculum in order to ensure that the university remains vibrant and faithful to the historic mission articulated by our founders in 1842, when they wrote that an Ohio Wesleyan education would be forever devoted to the most liberal principles, accessible to all denominations, that is, to people of all religious perspectives, and designed to ensure the strength of the future of Ohio Wesleyan as an institution that continues to fulfill the vision of our founders as a university forever devoted to liberal education, the liberal arts, accessible to diverse students from all religious denominations, and with an education designed for the benefit of citizens in general. I was interviewed by NPR about 6 weeks ago, and the week prior to Thanksgiving, the PBS NewsHour spent about 5 hours on campus interviewing a number of us on campus in preparation for a 4-part series to be aired in January on life on college campuses in the midst of a pandemic. And they were particularly interested to understand the planning that Ohio Wesleyan undertook in order to have students on campus safely this fall and to advance as we were able to complete the semester at Thanksgiving. We have adjusted our spring calendar, and you will see here just some of the highlights. We'll bring students back to campus 3 weeks later than normal, and then the first 10 days of class will actually be remote rather than in person. We want to get through some of the worst of winter, and we want to get well beyond the possibility of a Christmas spike in COVID. We also want to get closer into the spring weather. We will not have a spring break, but instead we'll have 3 times during the spring semester when we have 2 days of bishop break periods. These will be Tuesday, Wednesdays, or Wednesday, Thursdays, hoping that students will not leave campus on the weekends. Exams will be the week before Memorial Day, and we hope to have commencement on campus on Saturday, May 29th of Memorial Day weekend. Of course, that depends on the development of the vaccine and whether or not we are yet at that point able to bring large groups of individuals together on the order that would be required for commencement. The Sagan National Colloquium was initially planned this year to be a spring semester event, and the theme is liberal arts and the best business ideas. And we'll have a series of lectures, almost all of them virtual, which means they're available to all of you throughout the spring semester, in which we explore the intersection between liberal arts education and business leadership. And here's the first event, February 10th, with Dr. Robert Lloyd of Fort Hays State University. Widen your lens, why MBAs need Melville and startups need Shelley. We look forward to the colloquium, and I hope that many of you will join us. We've been very intentional through the summer and fall, working with all parts of the campus community to address issues of diversity, equity, and inclusion as we seek to build a true community of belonging, where every person on campus is fully included and has full access to all opportunities with no limitations and with no bias. We've developed the motto, stand together and work for change. We've looked at institutional structures and policies. We're looking at the curriculum. We're looking at the ways we recruit and retain diverse people in both the student body and in our faculty and staff. And we're looking at the campus climate. I won't go through the full list of actions this evening. They'll be posted updated on our website within the next few days. But I do want to highlight an announcement that was made just today of the Charles Thomas Scholarship. You know the story of Charles Thomas, who was the catcher on the Ohio Wesleyan baseball team when it traveled to South Bend, Indiana with its player coach, Branch Rickey. And when they arrived at the hotel in South Bend, Charles Thomas was told he could not stay. And Branch Rickey said to the clerk that either his teammate would stay or the team would leave and return without playing the game. Ultimately, Thomas was allowed to stay in Rickey's room. Charles Thomas and Branch Rickey became lifelong friends. Thomas went on to become a dentist and to live in St. Louis. They stayed in touch throughout their lives. And when in 1947, Branch Rickey brought Jackie Robinson to the Brooklyn Dodgers and integrated Major League Baseball. And people asked him about his motivation. He talked about his commitment to racial justice and how that commitment had been born out of his admiration for Charles Thomas and the experience that he had witnessed in South Bend, Indiana. The Charles Thomas Scholarship will be awarded each year to deserving students for those who receive the scholarship, ensure that they have their full financial need met. This is an endowed scholarship, and we have initial donors funding a portion of the scholarship, but we hope others in the Ohio Wesleyan family will want to contribute to build the Charles Thomas Scholarship to allow us to advance this agenda even more significantly. You saw in the video images of the residential campus renewal program, and in particular of the topping off ceremony in last month when the last beams on the top of the building were placed. We all had the opportunity to sign the beam before it was placed, and you can't quite see it, but the signatures of John and Kathy Milligan, our lead donors for whom the building is named, can be seen in the top at the peak of the beams as they were being put in place. Bradford Milligan Hall will be an apartment building that will house 126 of our seniors and will be open in the summer and be ready when students arrive in August. The renovation of Branch Rickey Arena is just being completed this week. A spectacular renovation at a fraction of the cost of the construction of a new arena, but that leaves us with an arena where our basketball teams, our volleyball team, and our wrestling team compete that feels like it is new. The bleachers are the last piece of work. Excuse me, they were a bit later because of the COVID outbreak in the place where the bleachers were manufactured. As it turns out, this was a good year to do the renovations because we were not able to have basketball competition this fall. If we are able to have competition in February and early March, we'll be able to be back in Branch Rickey. And so looking ahead, as we think about what it means to go forward to better, we've been thinking about the strategic direction for a small liberal arts college. What are the things that are most important as we designed the next phase of the history of Ohio Wesleyan? And there are three things that are gaining traction as centerpieces of that strategic vision. First, we want to build a distinctive and transformational student experience. The Ohio Wesleyan student experience has always been transformational. It has always included elements that are distinctive. But we want to continue to look at the curriculum and the co-curriculum, the experiences of our students on campus and away from campus, to ensure that they are distinctive and transformational, that they are faithful to our commitment and our heritage to liberal education, but that they also recognize the changing needs of students in the third decade of the 21st century, a distinctive and transformational student experience. Second, we want to ensure that we are a diverse and inclusive campus community. We have made significant progress in responding to concerns from students and alumni over the course of the summer and fall. I want to thank those in the meeting this evening who have been particularly helpful to us in identifying the needs for this agenda. And this will be one of the three legs of the stool of the future of a small liberal arts college. And then third, we believe that the future strategic direction involves innovation and entrepreneurship to achieve financial sustainability. These are challenging times for American higher education. There are fewer students going to college. They have less resources. We will not have tuition revenue in the future to match the tuition revenue of the past. And so we must be innovative, and we must be entrepreneurial. And we'll be developing an entrepreneurial fund that will offer grants to fund the ideas that will strengthen and secure our future. Innovation and entrepreneurship to achieve financial sustainability. So I know you were going to ask the question, so let me ask it for you. How can I help? I have been so moved over the past 12 and a half years to be in conversation with alumni and family and friends of Ohio Wesleyan across the country. And in every conversation, people want to know what they can do to support their beloved Ohio Wesleyan University. I want to highlight three things this evening. First, you can recruit and volunteer. You can help us find opportunities for students. Alumni played a critical role in the design and the construction of the new House of Black Culture. Here's a photograph taken when it was formally opened. Alumni play an important role in helping us provide experiences for our students in the upper right. Nick Callio, the Vice Chair of our Board of Trustees, the CEO of Airlines for America, the Airline Industry Association, with Kennedy Sattler, who was a senior last year and spent her fall semester in the Wesleyan and Washington program as an intern at Airlines for America. She had a fabulous experience in preparation for law school and a possible career in public service. You can help us with your volunteer efforts. You can help us by referring students. I've said many times over the last 12 and a half years to alumni of Ohio Wesleyan, think about your network. Think about the high school students that you know. Perhaps they're in your neighborhood. Perhaps they're friends of your family. Perhaps their families are friends of your family. Perhaps they're in your social organization or your religious setting. They might be ideal for Ohio Wesleyan, and they might never know that if you don't tell them. So help us identify the students who will build the student body of the future and who will be in these alumni town hall meetings in the years following. This gives me an opportunity to talk just briefly about the work that's being done to recruit students in a pandemic. We've had socially distanced campus tours on campus, as well as virtual campus tours. We've had a virtual custom view book. We've had panel discussions virtually. With social media, snail mail, personal connections. Our admission office is doing a terrific job. I saw statistics about 3 weeks ago that across the country, applications for admission are down 16% from last year. And among colleges in this region of the country, small colleges in this region of the country, they're down about 12%. Our applicant pool is larger than it was 1 year ago. I saw just today news that the number of students who entered college this year for the first time, first-year college students was 22% smaller than a year ago. That's a result of the pandemic. But our freshman class was 15 students larger than last year. So I want to commend our admission staff and all of you who worked so hard to support us in the effort to recruit. And then, of course, your philanthropic support makes possible the opportunities that our students have on campus every day. The most important element of our philanthropic support is the Ohio Wesleyan Fund. And Ohio Wesleyan Fund gifts can come in any size. Every alumnus or alumna of Ohio Wesleyan has the opportunity to make an impact on the experiences of our students who are on campus every day through gifts to the Ohio Wesleyan Fund. This is a photograph of Tom and Susan Palmer, who have endowed our Global Scholars Program. And back in February, early February, we had a gathering on campus where they came to meet the Global Scholars and to announce their gift. We were talking just before the program began. This photograph looks like it was light years ago. Look at us, we're all standing side by side. Nobody's wearing a mask, we're huddled up. That's the way we were, that's the way we'll be again someday. But I want to say a special word of appreciation to Tom and Susan for their generosity, but not only to Tom and Susan Palmer, but to alumni and friends of Ohio Wesleyan across the country and around the world. The Connect Today, Create Tomorrow campaign launched 6 years ago with the goal of $200 million. That goal was exceeded about a year ago. The board increased the goal to $225 million, and here's where we are today. And I can tell you that if I was sitting at one of the major network news desks, that I have some polling that tells me that by the end of the year, we will pass the campaign goal. We're not there yet, but stay tuned. Of course, we will not stop. We have 6 months remaining in the campaign, and we will continue to do the work that with our friends and donors to ensure that Ohio Wesleyan has the resources that give it a strong future. This campaign has been about the future of Ohio Wesleyan. The largest component has been endowment for scholarships and financial aid for our students, and for the endowment of the OWU Connection, and for endowment of support of our faculty. But the campaign also has transformed our physical campus with resources for the renovation of Merrick Hall, for the renovation of Edwards Gym and the creation of the Simpson Query Fitness Center, the construction of the Dickey House, of the Dittrich House, of the Sloan House, the construction of the Butler Ray Jones House of Black Culture, the construction of the Gillespie Honors House, the construction of Bradford Milligan Hall, and the full renovation of Smith Hall. And we hope by the end of this fiscal year to be underway with a full renovation of Slocum Hall. Your generosity has transformed the physical campus, but more importantly, with the endowment results of this campaign, your generosity has transformed the future of Ohio Wesleyan and ensured that our students will forever be able to fulfill the vision of the founders set in 1842. So let me close by saying thank you. Thank you for your generosity. Thank you for your support. Thank you for your passion. I'm sorry we're not together in the same room this evening. I'm sorry that we have not been together in Columbus and Boston and New York and Philadelphia and Washington and Cleveland and Chicago and Denver and Los Angeles and San Francisco and the other places where bishops gather each December to celebrate the spirit of the bishop family and the holiday season. But I'm grateful that in this moment we can share these minutes together and that we can reflect on, in the midst of such a challenging year, we can reflect on those things that we hold dear, those things we value most, our family, our friends, our loved ones, and our beloved Ohio Wesleyan University. As we say so often, let us say it again this evening, it is a great day to be a bishop. Thank you.
Thank you, Rock, and appreciate everyone who is chiming in the chat feature. It's so fun to see all the class years represented. I think there's a competition to see which class year is most represented. So please keep responding with your sentiments there. There have been a few questions, one of which, when was the last time an email was sent to current students about the SN grading option for classes?
There's certainly been an email to all of the students who have raised questions about it. There have been 2 of those. There is one that is going to all students. I'm not sure whether it's gone today or it's going tomorrow. And maybe I just should provide a little bit of background for people. We, in the spring, like most campuses in the country, gave students the opportunity to have credit no entry rather than grades on their transcript. Some institutions have done that again this fall, but the majority of colleges and universities have chosen not to do that this fall. Our faculty, this is a decision made by the faculty, and our faculty considered the concerns of students and came to the conclusion that it is in the best interest of students for the transcript to reflect their grades. Graduate schools will be looking for their grades. Students who will be seeking licensure will need to show their grades. Grades are necessary for Phi Beta Kappa. Employers may want to see their academic record. And so the faculty believed that it was most appropriate in this semester to not have the universal credit no entry option for students. Any student can petition the Committee on Academic Status for an exception to the policy, and students have been reminded of that. That's written in the catalog and is always available to students.
Rock, I just want to say thank you for doing that and for having that come out, because a lot of universities, including my grad student university, has just sent emails out. So it's really, I think a lot of students have been hoping to hear that transparency. So thank you.
There was a question about the PBS special, and I know that we will share that information when it will be aired. Rock, do you have any idea of when that might happen?
We were told January, but I don't know, but we'll see. They put a lot of time and energy. The weekend anchor was the reporter here on campus, and he was here for 5 hours. We understand they stopped at Ohio State for about 20 minutes on their way to the airport, but there was keen interest in Ohio Wesleyan and the experiences we've had this fall.
There is another question about how has the COVID Emergency Response Fund intended to support students been received by students and donors, and are students utilizing the fund?
We have been distributing emergency relief funds in a variety of ways, all the way back to prior to, to spring break, when students we had to ask all students to return home. Some students needed assistance with transportation costs. They were not prepared at that moment to make that unexpected journey. Some students needed assistance with technology costs, so they would have the technology necessary. We have provided medical assistance to students and have continued to provide assistance to students through the fall semester. The response has been wonderful and is very helpful and is very much appreciated by the students.
I love seeing all the kudos remarks coming in and 20th century represented. There's some remarks from people that have enjoyed attending the alumni events. So of course we appreciate everyone's participation in all of those as well. Headed down here, kudos to Rock and the entire OU leadership team for a phenomenal job, absolutely amazing. Proud of Ohio Wesleyan for navigating this fall and keeping kids safe on campus. How are foreign students managing with the pandemic? Has there been a drop off in foreign student participation?
So there's a drop off nationally in international student enrollment, and this was happening prior to the pandemic. The immigration rules have been tightened. It is more difficult for international students to get visas even prior to the pandemic. Virtually none of our first-year international students were on campus in the fall because embassies were closed in the summer. Some of them will be on campus in the spring, but most of them have been either deferred or they've been taking their courses remotely. We've been doing everything we can to serve them. We are aware there are national data from prior to COVID that are even more dramatic in the pandemic, that there are parts of the world where students who would have historically looked first to the United States are now looking to Australia or to Canada as their preferred destination for college because, frankly, of the difficulty with immigration and with some of the political climate.
Thank you. There's still a lot of kudos coming in for the staff at Ohio Wesleyan. That looks like that's the last question that we have had tonight, so I'll turn it back over to you, Rock, for your closing remarks.
Well, let me say thanks to all of you. We are buoyed and encouraged every day on campus by the passion and the support of alumni and friends of Ohio Wesleyan. I do want to commend the faculty. They have been extraordinary in adjusting and ensuring that students had what they need and that they had access to a full education. The Ohio Wesleyan faculty have always been innovative, but they have been extremely innovative in creating opportunities for our students this fall. I also want to commend the staff, and the staff has worked in so many ways. More than 2,200 signs were put up around campus, reminding us of which doors to enter and which doors to exit, how to keep 6 feet apart, what protocols we needed to follow. All of the personal protective equipment that needed to be acquired and distributed, the testing protocols. We tested every student on arrival in August and tested about 15% of the student body randomly each week. The test results for the first half of the semester were being shipped to Irvine, California, and they would arrive about 2 o'clock in the morning after being shipped out of Columbus at 5 o'clock, 36 hours earlier, 32 hours earlier. And somebody would be up to get those results and to be prepared at 8 o'clock that morning to notify any students who had tested positive and to begin the contact tracing. That was an enormous responsibility, overseeing quarantine and isolation. And I especially want to commend the vice presidents who have provided leadership. They've been tremendous, and we are fortunate to have a very strong team in place. So thank you for the opportunity to be with you this evening. We wish you a holiday season that we hope will be filled with joy and with peace, with rest. We hope that you can be with your loved ones, if not as you normally are, together around a table, at least in this way. Melissa and I enjoyed a wonderful Thanksgiving Day gathering with our 3 children. The 4 of us were we were in 4 different states, Melissa and I, and then the others. So in different locations, but able to be together, and we hope the same for you. I want to turn it now to Keith Rosansky, the Vice President of the Alumni Association, and he will close us out. Keith?
Yeah, thank you, Rock. And thank everyone for coming tonight. I'm Keith Rosansky, class of 1999. I'm going to go off script for a second here, Rock, because while you were talking, I have the pleasure of being at home by myself with my 3 young kids tonight. And my 8-year-old walked by and he popped his head on the screen and he said, "Who's that?" And I said, "It's President Jones." He goes, your school has a president?" And he just looked at me and I said, "Oh, it's kind of like your school has a principal." He goes, "Boy, at your school, that must be a really hard job." And I don't know how he figured that out already, but he has. Anyway, and then he just walked off like nothing happened. Anyway, I want to tell everyone that if we've learned anything about OWU this year, it's that our faculty, our staff, and our students and alumni is strong. It's resilient and it's thrived even amongst the many challenges we faced. And that strength is made possible by many of you who are joining us here tonight, who've supported OWU and continue to support OWU. I'd like to thank those of you who serve OWU in any capacity as a volunteer. We are grateful for your service. I'd also like to thank those of you who have made a gift to the Ohio Wesleyan Fund. You know, every single dollar counts. Your gifts make a difference every day. If you've yet to make your gift for this year, please join me. And if you do so, you can receive your limited edition I Heart OWU pin. This is what it looks like. This is not actual size. This is larger than, it's kind of like your rear view mirror. That's not actual size. But if you make a gift between now and the end of the year, you'll get an I Love OWU pin. We are excited for 2021 as we move OWU forward to be better. Arriving in your inbox after the new year will be a preview of upcoming events to engage you and stay connected with OWU, including the Sagan National Colloquium, the WOW Speaker Series, Ask a Bishop events, and more. Also this February, we will be launching a new Giving Day concept to celebrate our strong OWU community. Mark your calendars for February 18th and 19th when alumni, students, parents, and friends will come together to showcase how our unique paths and talents contribute to a vibrant OWU and ensure the next generation of students can have an outstanding experience, the same, or actually, quite frankly, much better experience than we all had. And I don't know that my experience could be any better, but we're striving, and I know what we offer the students today is better than we even had it. I know that this is the time of year, certainly, that many of us in the who live elsewhere, I live in Los Angeles, would be having our alumni holiday celebrations. All of us are at home right now. Some of us may or may not have something just to toast with, but I wanted to toast Rock and the staff and all of you and say thank you very much for doing everything you could to make this OWU, this 2020 year, as great as it could be. And thank you guys very, very much. I've never been more proud to be a bishop, and happy holidays. Thanks, everybody.